Okay, 3-point shooting. Have you seen signs of improvement during preseason practices? How important is it for your team to improve on that? And maybe the help that Earl and Matt can give you in that category?
Well, I think Chris Likes, Cam McGusty, Isaiah Wong are shooting the ball better than ever. And Matt Cross is an outstanding shooter. So I think those four guys in particular. Harlan Beverly has worked really hard. I think he'll have his moments, and hopefully that shot will improve. Sam Wardenberg was really shooting the ball well, and unfortunately, he's not going to be able to contribute this year.
We'll go down to Michelle Coffin from the Miami Herald. Michelle.
Hi, Jim. Nice to see you.
Hey, Michelle, I can see you.
I know. Well, I don't know. Everyone's got their video cameras off. I'm not sure. Everyone's afraid to be seen here, but I figure this is as close as we're going to get. So you're going to have to look at me. Quick question. I wanted to ask you, with everything going on with COVID and sports, and, we talked the last time we spoke to you about how difficult it was with coaching and meetings and all that kind of stuff. Now that you're getting ready to start to play games, what is the travel protocol going to be like? Are you concerned, or do you feel like all the rules that are in place are going to work out? What are you expecting logistically from a basketball season that is going to look so different from all the others? And what are your travel plans? Are you going to go charter? Are you going to fly commercial? How's that going to work? Thank you.
Michelle, that was a very long question.
That's okay.
It's a very simple answer. We're going to do everything the protocols ask for and do everything possible to keep our players and coaching staff and travel parties safe. That does include every road trip. We will have assigned seats on the bus, on the charter plane. We will be flying charter for every away game. Now, the assigned seats are going to be roommates have to sit next to each other. Everybody will wear a mask. There'll be no food eaten on the bus. There'll be no food on the airplane. If you need a drink, you'll have to drink through a straw under your mask. When you room, your roommate will be your roommate back home here on campus. So we're not going to have any sit-down meals together as pregame meals normally are our whole team in a banquet room. We'll be doing a lot of box lunches and box dinners to keep our social distancing as the protocols indicate.
Okay, we'll go now to Matt Shodell from Kane Sport. Matt, go ahead.
Yeah, hey, Jim. A couple of things. First of all, I know some football players have issues. I assume all your players, first of all, have no issues. Nobody's being quarantined, nothing like that, right?
Well, we don't have any issues with COVID. We have an awful lot of other issues.
Well, that was my next question.
One with dealing with kids that are 18 to 22 years old. So,
well, that brings me to my next question. So, notwithstanding COVID, what's most different about your team this year compared to this time last year?
Well, one of the biggest obstacles we have is we've been dealing with a lot of bumps and bruises. We lost Sam Wardenberg for the season. He's out for 5 months. Anthony Walker sprained a knee, and he's missed, 3 or 4 weeks already. But he's back at practice now, so we're happy about that. Earl Timberlake just sprained his ankle on Saturday. Rodney Miller had a medical issue that he had to deal with because he's got allergies. Nasir Brooks missed practice yesterday because he was sick. We've had so many bumps and bruises and things that have kept us from having a full complement of players. It's been very difficult to practice correctly. And by that, I mean, do your drills, work on your skills, scrimmage and work on your offense and your defense. It's been very, very challenging. But from what I understand from talking to other college coaches and friends of mine and my assistant coaches' friends, almost every college is dealing with something like this. Villanova got shut down on 2 different occasions. Marquette got shut down. Those were COVID related, but other teams have had the same kind of injury bug we've had.
Okay, we'll go to Wyatt Kopelman from the Miami Hurricane. Wyatt.
Hey, Coach, how you doing? Could we get maybe an update on the injury status of Anthony Walker, given that he has such a high ceiling to potentially fill the absence of Sam Wardenberg this year?
Yeah, Anthony had a great July, August, and September, but right around the 1st of October, he went in for like a 360 dunk, and he just twisted his knee. And to be safe rather than sorry, we've kept him out for a month, but he's back practicing. He'll be full go this weekend, and hopefully ready to go on November 29th.
All right, Steve Wein from the Associated Press up next. Steve.
Tim, you mentioned 18-year-olds. How difficult is it to get kids that age to buy in on all these things that have to be done with this pandemic situation?
Hey, Steve, I've been wondering where my hat went when I wore it in Europe in 1976.
I found this on campus, yeah.
Glad you found it and are putting it to good use. But one of the things about my team right now is they've been very receptive to everything we've asked them to do. They've had a great attitude. The biggest challenge for them is to stay safe and follow the protocol rules, but they've been doing it. If we didn't, we'd have a number of guys who've had COVID, because COVID cases are spiking everywhere. But we keep our fingers crossed. We've had to reschedule our opening game. We were supposed to play Stetson on November 25th. Some of their guys got COVID, so we had to reschedule. And but we're going to play that game. It looks like we're trying for December the 4th.
Go back to Michelle Coffin from the Miami Herald. Michelle.
Hello again. My next question is, because there won't be fans in the stands at most of these places, or maybe all, I don't know, but places like Duke have already announced that they're not going to have any fans, no Cameron Crazies. How does that affect the ACC? And, does it neutralize, that's such a big part of the game in the ACC, and something that all the opponents have to prepare for, the fans and the noise and the fingers waving in all these places. If none of that is there, how does that affect the way you prepare for games in the ACC? And do you think it'll neutralize and take away the home court advantage from some of those teams that have had that for so many years, decades, really?
Well, Michelle, I think the biggest impact will be financially. Mm-hmm. The ACC has been tremendously successful financially. And even with the expansion, we've grown to 15 teams. We've added teams like Syracuse, who can average 30,000 fans. Louisville averages 20-something thousand fans. So there'll be a tremendous impact financially on all the schools. Secondly, we're going to scrimmage this Saturday. We're going to have an inter-squad scrimmage with uniforms, and we're going to set it up like a game and get our players a little bit more accustomed to playing in an empty arena, because there will be an adjustment for the players. I do think it can impact the home court advantage, but every player on both teams will be dealing with the same thing. Number one, you have to be self-motivated. You can't wait for the crowd to get you going. And I'll also be very curious about the creativity that we see around the league, because when I watched the NBA playoffs in the Orlando Walt Disney bubble, they had fake faces in the crowd and music and crowd noise. So I'm hoping that we'll adapt to that and try to do some creative things. And I'm sure we're going to see that around the league. One great thing about being able to play, even if there's no fans, is the games will be on TV. And our fans will still be able to follow our Miami basketball program, because this will be an exciting season.
We got time for two more. We'll go to Wyatt Kopelman and then to Chris Stock. Wyatt?
Coach, in what sense does having a shorter set of non-conference games this year either help or hurt the team in a sense when it comes to preparing for that ACC gauntlet and the ACC tournament in March?
Well, the first thing I would say, it's not just that they reduced the games from 30 to 25 and 10 non-conference games to 5. We had 7 non-conference games scheduled between November 10th and November 25th. We had to revamp our whole schedule. We have dropped opponents. We've pushed them back a year. We had two in-state opponents we were looking forward to competing with, Central Florida and Florida Atlantic. We're not going to be able to play either one of those because of scheduling conflicts. And then because of COVID, we decided we were not going to play an exempt event because we were scheduled to go to the Cayman Islands and play in a great exempt event, but those dates got changed and we couldn't accommodate the new dates. So we have redone our schedule. We're only playing our 5 non-conference games all at home. That'll be a first in Miami basketball history. And other than the Purdue game in the ACC Big Ten Challenge, the other 4 opponents are all in-state schools that'll be busing to us to kind of reduce the chance of us getting COVID. So Stetson, North Florida, Jacksonville, Florida Gulf Coast, we were kind of in a position that we did not want any non-conference opponent flying in and then bringing COVID with them.
Last question for Coach L come from Chris Stock from Inside the U. Chris.
Talk more about the scrimmage that you have coming up this weekend, maybe the format. Is it the first one that you've had like this with the uniforms and things like that? And then what you're hoping to see on that day?
Yeah, Saturday will actually be the very first day that we'll be in the Watsco Center. From August the 17th until today's Wednesday, until this Friday, the Watsco Center has been a classroom with a lot of social distancing and 2 huge movie screens so that students could sit in the stands, watch the movie screens as the professor taught the class on his computer. So Saturday will be the very first day. Not only are we in uniform, but the first day the floor will be down, the baskets will be in place, the arena will be set up like it's a game. We'll be socially distancing on the bench. We'll be wearing masks, and we'll be introducing our players for the first time on the Jumbotron. So everything is brand new.
All right. Thank you, Coach L. Appreciate your time. We'll have Katie Meyer in here shortly.